Is character dining at Walt Disney World something that adults should do? And which are the best character dining restaurants? Find out here today on Walt Disney World Adults Only. Welcome your Royal Highnesses, I'm Dan and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only, or WDWAO as we're now known. So, character dining for adults. Is it a thing? Is it worth doing? Is it worth the money? And do the characters interact with adults? Well, we're going to be answering all of those questions today, as well as telling you about our favourite character dining experience at Walt Disney World. Before we get started, please click subscribe and then tell me in the comments below what are your own thoughts on character dining for adults. So, character dining at Walt Disney World, well, of course these restaurants attract families with children. They can be quite busy and they can be a little bit rowdy too. This is certainly not the place for a tranquil, relaxing adult meal. And on top of that, they are really quite pricey as well. You are paying for the experience, and in very general terms, this is not the best food you're going to find across Walt Disney World. So with your expectations managed, and all that being said, these are a really great, fun experience, even for a grump like me. And as you will hear later, I am not the greatest fan of character dining, but I've been to most of them, and some of them on multiple occasions. So would I say that they're essential for every trip? Probably not. But am I glad that I've experienced them? Absolutely, completely. I wouldn't change that for the world. Before I get some opinions and experiences from the team, I'm just going to take a moment to run through the character dining experiences at Walt Disney World. Now these were all in non-COVID times, and some are not currently available and others have been modified. So starting at Magic Kingdom, you can meet Cinderella, Princess Aurora, Princess Jasmine, Princess Ariel and Snow White at Cinderella's royal table. You can meet Beast at Be Our Guest, and at Crystal Palace you can meet Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore and Piglet. Moving to Epcot, and we have Chip, Dale, Mickey and Pluto at Garden Grill, and Akashi's Banquet Hall with Princess Aurora, Belle, Snow White, Cinderella and Princess Ariel. Hollywood Studios has Hollywood and Vine, which has Minnie, Mickey, Donald, Daisy and Goofy. They have Disney Junior characters here too for breakfast, which attracts a lot of small children. I have no idea who these characters are, but they're called Vampirina, Fancy Nancy, Doc McStuffins and Roads to Goofy. Probably not the best for adults only. Animal Kingdom has Tusker House, Donald, Daisy, Mickey and Goofy. And then there is character dining at the resorts too. Chef Mickey's at Disney's Contemporary has Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy and Pluto. 1900 Park Fair at the Grand Floridian Resort has Alice in Wonderland, Mad Hatter, Mary Poppins, Pooh and Tigger for breakfast. And making an appearance for dinner, you have Cinderella, Prince Charming, Lady Tremaine, Drizella and Anastasia, the Ugly Sisters. Ohana at Disney's Polynesian Resort has a character breakfast, which includes Mickey, Pluto, Lilo and Stitch. Storybook dining at Artist Point at Disney's Wilderness Lodge has Snow White, Dopey, Grumpy and the Evil Queen herself. At Disney's Riviera Resort at Topolino Terrace, this has a character breakfast where you can meet Mickey, Minnie, Donald and Daisy. At Trattoria al Forno at Disney's Boardwalk, for breakfast only you can meet Ariel and Eric, as well as Rapunzel and Flynn Rider too. Another character breakfast, this time at Cape May Cafe at Disney's Beach Club, and here you can meet Minnie, Donald, Daisy and Goofy. At Ravello at the Four Seasons, you will find Goofy, Mickey and Minnie at the Good Morning Breakfast with Goofy and his pals. There was also a character dining experience at Garden Grove at Walt Disney World Swan Hotel, but this one has been absent for some time and there is no news as to whether this may return. So as you can see, there are lots and lots of character dining experiences at Walt Disney World. Now let's hear from our team to find out their favourites and to get you some detail. Shall we start with Helen, who loves one of the longest running character dining experiences at Walt Disney World? Helen?
Yes, Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary Resort has been open since the 22nd of December 1995. Making this the longest running character dining experience. I'd wanted to dine at Chef Mickey's since my first visit to Walt Disney World, and I got to fulfill this dream when I visited in January 2020. We decided to go for a character breakfast, and when we arrived we were given a pager as our seating area wasn't available. There was a PhotoPass photographer on hand to take our photo in front of a giant Mickey plate, which I thought was a great keepsake and a fabulous beginning to a wonderful experience. Once we were seated, our server took our drinks order and we headed to the buffet. There was so much choice, including chocolate croissants, waffles with absolutely loads of toppings, scrambled egg, bacon, sausages and delicious banana bread French toast. Now I must mention that my visit was pre-COVID and currently Chef Mickey's are serving family style. The food was good, pretty average buffet food, and the server was really attentive, constantly coming back to the table and providing drinks refills. The characters started to roam around our seating area as we were dining. Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Pluto and my favourite, Goofy. They all stopped by our table so we were able to grab a photo with each of the Fab Five. We were pretty much the only adult-only table seated, but the characters seemed to read how much interaction that we were comfortable with. This experience currently costs $60. Do I think it's worth it? Well, yes, it was for me. I got to dine at that restaurant that I'd looked at longingly as I was on the monorail going through the Contemporary on my way to Magic Kingdom. Plus, it was also great to get photos with the characters without having to stand in line. Would I go again to Chef Mickey's? Possibly in a few years' time, but there's lots of other character dining experiences that I'd like to try first. However, I definitely recommend Chef Mickey's if you've not been before. It's a great way to start your day at Magic Kingdom. Well, from one of the oldest experiences to one of the newest. Taylor, I hear that you're in love with the experience at Topolino's.
You're right, Helen. I really fell in love with Topolino's Terrace the first time I ate there. As you said, this is one of the newest restaurants in Disney. It opened in December of 2019 when the Riviera resort opened, and unfortunately had to close just a few months later because of COVID. After that closure, when it reopened, the breakfast opened as a socially distanced character dining experience like we know and love, hate, or dealing with. You have to make the call on that one. I specify breakfast as a character dining meal because dinner at Topolino's Terrace is actually a signature dining experience. So if you want those characters, make sure you're booking breakfast. And the characters you will meet at breakfast are Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy in their artist costumes, which you will only find here at the Riviera. This is a really interesting breakfast choice because it's actually prix-fixe. And at $42 per adult, your meal will start with Pog Juice, which is, of course, a Disney favorite. And then you'll also get a shared plate of pastries for the table. Your entrees are gonna include things like frittatas, waffles, hash, steak, and several other interesting options. But these aren't just simple waffles. It's not just a simple hash. They're all a little bit more upscale than some of the other restaurants you may find on property, especially character dining meals. I ate there in January of this year and I had the sour cream waffles and my husband had the steak, which had just been re-added to the menu again. And these were the best waffles I've ever had. I've never had a fluffier waffle. A Mickey waffle is great, but I would take these over a Mickey waffle every time. And Jake's steak was also really good. Nice and tender and came with a nice little vegetable, onion, mushroom hash, I guess you would call it. Very, very delicious. One of the great things about this meal is even though $42 can sound like a lot for breakfast, you can order a second entree if you want. We didn't because the food we had was plenty and we left really full. I think this is a really great option for an adults-only trip. When we were there in January, there were a lot of parties without children, so we didn't feel out of place. And with these socially distanced character interactions we're having right now, you know, it's not as invasive. You're eating, you're waving, you're laughing at them, dancing around and parading, but you don't have to stop your meal to interact if you don't really want to. This is really a beautiful restaurant. It sits at the very top of the Riviera, so you have stunning views of the Riviera grounds and Caribbean beach, the Skyliner in the distance. You can go out on the terrace and look around, which I really recommend that you do. And when we were there were lots of parties there without children. So if you're on an adult-only trip, I definitely recommend this restaurant if you want a character meal without all the screaming, to put it nicely, if you know what I mean. As I said, it is a little pricey for breakfast, but the food was so good and the restaurant was so beautiful that this didn't just become my favorite character meal in Disney, it became my favorite breakfast in Disney. So I definitely recommend it. Okay, Leanne, I know that you have two favorites, the Crystal Palace and 1900 Park Fair, but we're only letting you choose one. So which is your absolute favorite?
Thanks, Taylor. I had a really hard time choosing between two, the Crystal Palace and 1900 Park Fair, but I'm going with 1900 Park Fair. We have, however, done a video on Crystal Palace that we will link down below. We did 1900 Park Fair back in 2016, and we kind of just stumbled across it. Needless to say, it did not disappoint. 1900 Park Fair is in such a great location, based in the Grand Floridian. On your way to check-in, there is a chocolate Cinderella carriage on the right hand side that you would never have guessed was made of chocolate because it is incredibly detailed and beautiful. So once we'd checked in and was taken over to our table, we walked through the restaurant with such incredible theming. Once we were sat at our table, they brought over juice, which was absolutely amazing. I can't remember what juice, but it was lovely. We then headed over to the buffet station, where there was omelettes that somebody would make for you. There was a selection of bacon, sausages, scrambled eggs, everything you would usually have on a breakfast. Danishes, pastries, and there was a meat carving station that had some form of glazed ham, which was absolutely incredible. I would go back just for that ham. The characters we had for breakfast were Mary Poppins, Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. And Tigger really made this meal. He came back time upon time and spent so long with us, messing about, having a laugh, and just really made the meal. We went in 2016, so the dining plan was still an option, which is 1 table service credit per person. But even today, without the dining plan, it only costs $45 per person, which is still well worth it. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet, the characters are amazing, the setting is beautiful, and you only have to walk over to the Magic Kingdom and you're there. I would definitely dine here again, and I would always recommend it to any other adults going. We're going to go to Carol now, and where else would you expect her favourite character dining experience to be? It has to be Animal Kingdom.
Of course, Leanne, my favorite character meal is going to be at Animal Kingdom. Tusker House. Is there any other? At Tusker House, you'll get to meet Daisy, Goofy, Donald, and Mickey, all wearing the most adorable safari outfit. I really love Mickey in his little pith helmet. I have a matching one. And he was just so full of himself in his little shorts and his canteen on his side, and he was ready to go on safari. When I went, it was a buffet. Right now, it's family style at $42 for breakfast, but I'm hoping it will soon return to buffet. So I can only tell you about my experiences when there was a buffet and when the characters came to meet and greet you. The buffet is American with an African influence. Think a smaller version of Boma with characters. It was the traditional breakfast fare that you're going to find: fruits, yogurt, cereal, waffles, pancakes. There was a ham carving station. The ham just melted in your mouth. It was delicious. I remember the frittata being quite tasty as well. There were also some African-inspired dishes. The highlight of breakfast to me was the jungle juice, or papaya orange guava juice. Try it in the form of a mimosa. It is to die for. The food I would rate as above average for a typical breakfast buffet, but the character interactions is where it really shines. Goofy, as usual, is quick to give you a big hug, and Daisy is a little shy, so she'll grab your hand or your arm and sometimes give you a hug. but it's just not as big as a Goofy hug. Donald is full of himself as well. They came to the table twice, so that's why I rate Tusker House as one of my top all-time favorite breakfast character experiences. And you have said it so many times, Dan. I'm sure everyone will know that Garden Grill is your favorite. If they don't, they must have been hiding under a rock.
You do make me laugh, Carol. As you know, I am more about the food than the characters, but the characters coming around are a nice little extra. Always at least one character meal per trip though, and I'm always keen to try a new one for the experience. I think I've been to 10 different character restaurants so far, and yes, Garden Grill is my number one for the food. We actually have a whole video on this restaurant, and I'll link it in the description down below, and a link should pop up here if I'm smart. If not, I just look really stupid right now, pointing at nothing. So Garden Grill is Mickey, Pluto, Chip and Dale. It's located in the Land Pavilion at Epcot, and it opens for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I have dined here for both breakfast and dinner, but the menu for lunch and dinner is the same, so essentially I've done all the meals that they offer here. Food here is served family style, and it's all you care to enjoy, so unlimited food, and the restaurant slowly rotates. Some people do complain about nausea. I'm fortunate, however, that I don't suffer with it, but if you do, this may not be the restaurant for you. The characters here have always been brilliant. You get to see them a few times as they make their rounds around the restaurant, and in normal times they pose for photographs, sign autographs, and they interact with you really well. I've always been seated in a little booth which faces outwards, and because the food is served family style, it is brought to your table, and the characters come to your table too. And this is a far more civilised way to enjoy character dining. Oh, and some of the food is actually grown in the Land Pavilion itself. You cannot get fresher than that. Breakfast is all the usual fare: scrambled eggs, sausage, bacon, Mickey waffles served with warm Nutella, and a warm, out of this world, delicious sticky cinnamon bun. You get fruit salad too, and mimosas as well if you're a lush like me. Lunch and dinner starts with a delicious salad, which is really fresh and some of it grown on site. You get warm bread rolls and a honey butter, and then you get free meats, typically turkey, beef and sausage. This comes with mashed potatoes, mac and cheese and seasonal vegetables too. Oh, and a herb and leek stuffing, which is delicious. Dessert is a berry shortcake served with whipped vanilla cream, and this food is completely unlimited and brought to you upon your request. Now, as with most character dining, this isn't a cheap place. Around $55 for lunch and dinner and $42 for breakfast. But if you have a Disney dining plan, this is a very efficient use of one table service credit. Do I recommend this place for adults? Absolutely. You get to meet your characters almost privately as they come to your booth. It's a far more intimate experience, and I 100% recommend this place. Anyway, I think we're missing somebody. Did you know that we have a fully qualified character queen on our team? Natalie is our character dining expert, so I will now make way for Her Royal Highness, the Queen.
Thanks, Dan. I will gladly take that title. You know how much I love character dining. I actually had quite the tough time deciding which restaurant I was going to talk about today. I love so many of them. But I finally decided I'm going to talk about Cinderella's Royal Table. Cinderella's Royal Table is classed as a signature fine dining restaurant located inside Cinderella's castle in the Magic Kingdom. Now, it can be a little bit pricey, with breakfast being between $35 and $60 per adult, and lunch and dinner starting at approximately $60. As you might have guessed, this is a princess dining experience. Before you get to the restaurant itself, you get to meet Cinderella. Now, this interaction is usually pretty spot on, and you don't feel too rushed, and there's even a Disney PhotoPass photographer there ready to capture the moment. From here you take the lift up to the restaurant itself, which is fantastically designed. I highly recommend trying to get a table by the window if you can, so that you can enjoy the views over Fantasyland while you enjoy the food. Although I've been to Cinderella's Royal Table a couple of times, I've only ever been for breakfast, but I would definitely try and get there for dinner in the future. I'm quite interested in the fireworks packages if they come back. For breakfast, you get your drinks of choice and some pastries for the table, which are really good, and then you'd get to choose your entree. I highly recommend the caramel apple stuffed French toast. It was amazing, but very sweet, and I couldn't quite finish it all, but very good overall. The character interaction here is great. The princesses are absolutely spot on.
Although I think my favourite one to meet is Ariel. She's really quite funny, asking you about dingle hoppers and everything that's on the table, trying to use the words that she knows them for. So perhaps you could ask her a funny question or two. And this is part of the reason why I like this restaurant. I really want to meet the princesses still, but I don't necessarily want to wait. And I have to eat, so why not combine the two? You can find more detail on Cinderella's royal table in our video dedicated to this restaurant. I'll put the link in the description down below. I think that's all of us for today. But before I go, I just want to say that on my next trip to Walt Disney World, which I can't wait for, and I really want to experience character dining again, I think I'm most looking forward to Topolino Terrace or Artist Point. And that's purely because I've not experienced these restaurants yet. Yes, I know it's surprising, but there are a couple that I've not yet been to. I will definitely change that soon. So Dan, which character dining experience are you most looking forward to on your next trip?
Thanks Natalie. Actually, number one for my next trip is Topolino Terrace. The food there looks incredible and I really want to see the characters in their little cute artsy outfits. Taylor cannot say enough good things about this place, and so that is good enough for me. So that is us for today. Please tell me in the comments below which of us has got the best taste in character dining, and please also tell me which one is number one on your list for your next trip. Now, we have got lots and lots of videos about dining at Walt Disney World. I'll link that video in the description down below, and the link should also appear here as well.
Thanks for watching this video.
If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up.
Don't forget to share it with your friends, you know they'll love it.
If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do so and hit the bell so you know when new videos come out.
If you're not already a member of our fantastic Adults Only Facebook group, please join today. The link is in the description down below, where we'll continue this discussion along with many more.
And remember, never grow up.